New commitment for the Irish, Kobe Clapper, 4-star per the On3 industry ranking. Each individual website has him as a high 3, and then Rivals has him as a 4. So I think like the average works out there for him to be the nation's number 372 overall player, number 30 linebacker, according to the On3. Again, On3 industry ranking from Cincinnati St. Xavier. Big commitment for the Irish a long time. This was a pot of gold offer last March, if I'm remembering correctly, Kyle, from a big time school. Notre Dame just signed Gordy Solstead from St. X in the 2025 cycle. And then, I mean, we'll talk more about the recruitment in a minute, but in terms of like the timing of it, like he didn't like put out, hey, I'm committing on Friday, May 2nd. He just dropped it, at like 8:30 in the morning, and then, but the decision for him to commit to the Irish was not a surprise, Kyle.
Yeah, and just to kind of give some of the YouTube and podcast audience a little bit of a taste of my 5 thoughts column that I put up on the site after his commitment, I pretty much led that off by saying, we've been prepared. I mean, it's the best way to put it. We've been prepared for this to happen for about 4 weeks. We expected Kobe Clapper on campus for the Blue Gold game, but he had a personal circumstance arise that didn't allow him to get to South Bend that day. But pretty much ever since then, we've been kind of on alert in a sense, tweet notifications on and everything like that for Kobe Clapper to potentially commit to Notre Dame.
Kyle, if you don't mind, I want to get to his recruitment in a second. But you've seen him in person? Like, what? Let's talk about the film, then we'll dive into the recruitment. I'm sorry to kind of
Yeah.
lead it off like that, but what do you think about him as a player?
Boy, I don't know if we got my file video anywhere from when I saw him back in when was it? It was last football season. It was for a St. X and Moore game. But yeah, I love this pickup for Notre Dame. The one thing that I can pretty much say about Kobe Clapper, he's very instinctive. He's a high IQ football player. I mean, he's a high academic kid at St. X, values the education and everything like that. So not surprised that his smarts translate to the football field. And that's a big deal for, Max Bola and with the makeup of his Notre Dame linebackers room. Like, this is something I, talked about with Bola at, I think it was the Sugar Bowl media day, one of the media days during the college football playoff when they had the assistants available for one-on-one media interviews. I caught up with Max Bola and I was just talking about Madden Faramo's recruitment and kind of the benefits of where he played his high school football, him and Kingston Viliamuasa specifically, in that, they came from a pretty highly competitive high school football league, great coaching. Both those guys are ready to hit the ground running once they got to Notre Dame. I know with Viliamuasa, specifically, Coach Bola has basically called him a pro's pro for a college sophomore. And Clapper and Thomas Davis Jr. are kind of in that category for that matter. Both those guys, big time football smarts. I mean, with Thomas Davis Jr. is, pretty obvious with his father being Thomas Davis, a longtime NFL linebacker who was a Pro Bowler. And with Clapper, you really see his ability to handle a lot on his plate on Friday. You see that shine on Friday nights because they put him in a lot of different spots. I'm
Yeah.
sure you've seen it in the film. I mean, he can line up on the edge, lines up at middle linebacker, lines up at will. I think, don't quote me, but I think, yeah, right there. He's
He's
maybe a
like
little
off
bit
ball,
outside.
yeah.
Yeah, like kind of a safety position as
Mhm.
well. So very versatile, very instinctive. So he'll give Max Bola and the Notre Dame defense quite the chess piece once he gets up to campus.
Yeah, I mean, they're look how far back he is there in that like 3-3-5 look. He plays everywhere. This definitely seems like a Notre Dame type backer, sideline to sideline. Notre Dame loves setting their linebackers after the quarterback, and of course Notre Dame has defensive coordinator change. But in hiring Chris Ash, it was I think a big reason for that was to have continuity and not really blow up like, hey, we're not going to be now running a 4-4, or like a 5. They're not going to do something crazy. It's going to be similar. Like, I know Chris Ash has simplified the defense in a lot of ways, but it's going to be fairly similar. Might see a little bit more zone, but Chris Ash, again, not looking to reinvent the wheel here. And but anyways, Kobe Clapper just being like a sideline guy, plays downhill so much, just seems like a great fit for what Notre Dame does defensively. And I'm just curious of, like, does he have some measurable or verified time that was not very good? Like, why is Kobe Clapper ranked where he's at? Like, yeah, I'm the Notre Dame guy. What are the chances that I'm going to think a Notre Dame guy should be ranked higher, right? But man, 3 of the 4 websites having this kid ranked where he is really interesting to me, Kyle. And the stats, very productive as well. 14-game junior season, in which he led St. X to the Ohio Region 4 state championship game. 105 tackles, 11 and a half of those being for loss, 4.5 sacks, a forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, and 2 PBUs. I mean, what, like, I don't know. I'm very curious. I'm looking forward to hearing from On Three's Charles Power about this, because it seems like a no-brain, at least 4-star guy to me. I mean, maybe inside the national rankings, but that's just one man's opinion.
I think he was actually rated as a 4-star by On3.
Initially, yeah.
Yeah, so not, you'll be able to get some clarification there. But one thing with Clapper is, we've talked about this on the message board, is that he really isn't, like, what's the word? He's not a big recruiting guy.
He's not a big
I
recruiting
mean,
guy.
he's and I know some of the coaching staffs, there was a little bit of frustration about, maybe the amount of communication with him throughout the process. I don't think he's a pretty much like your just like no nonsense type of guy. Like,
Yeah.
show up and play football, like all the other extra stuff. Like, it is what it is. He's grateful to be, a part of the process and recruited and everything like that, and everything that comes with it. But definitely did not lean into that a whole lot. So with that said, I don't know if we have like a lot of testing numbers on him. I don't know
Sure.
if we have a 40-yard dash and some of those numbers that can help, inform a ranking.
Yeah.
So perhaps that's part of it, because when you put on the tape, and I know Tim Hyde's probably going to feel the same way, is this is a big time pickup for Notre Dame and definitely a 4-star type of player.
Yeah. Looking at the offer list, Notre Dame, Cincinnati, Ohio State, Tennessee, Michigan, Wisconsin, Oregon, Penn State, list goes on. I really think this one ended up being Notre Dame and Oregon, and he had never even visited Oregon. So, yeah, when we got word that, hey, this kid's going to be visiting for the Blue Gold game, and as Cal mentioned earlier, that ended up needing to be canceled last minute due to just a personal circumstance. It was like, all right, let's get this thing ready. So that article I posted when he committed, that was I had to clean it up a little bit, but yeah, I wrote that the morning of the Blue Gold game. And it was just like a situation where it's like, all right, it felt like a matter of time before he committed. And I never thought it was going to hit summer official visits. Visited Notre Dame 4 times, made it to campus March 28th. To go back to your point, Kyle, about just he's not a big recruiting kid. Like, I was told it was like a day or two before that visit and March 28th for the first spring practice that he was just like, he informed Notre Dame, like, hey, I'm coming up with Gordy. They weren't like, hey, like, let's, like, there wasn't like a long back and forth about when you're going to visit. Just like, hey, I'm visiting. Made it for junior day at the end of January. Saw the Notre Dame was that Louisville game last year, and then first spring practice in 2024. So Notre Dame really hitting all of the. I mean, you would have liked to have them for last summer for like a cookout or a camp or something, but otherwise, you want to get the kids on campus for the sophomore, their spring year, summer going into their junior year, a game for their junior season, and then going into their next year, junior day, and then another spring practice when they're a junior. So Notre Dame really hitting on all of those kind of key seasons to get a prospect on campus. So a really nice commitment for Notre Dame. The number 4 overall class as we record this in the country. Last year's class, of course, was 12. Will Notre Dame keep in the top 5? It's probably unlikely, but 13 commitments, Kyle. a class score of 92.45, which you see last year's was 91.47. So a nice jump. And 10 of your 13 commitments are 4-star prospects right now, which is solid. And just for a quick peek inside how the national rankings are done at On3, only the top 7 commits are used in this score. So USC has 25 commits right now. Only your top 7 are used because that is the average number of commits in the Power 5 level, Power 4, I should say. So Notre Dame, your 13 commits, only 7 of them used. So you have your Notre Dame's average rating for recruit, right? Kobe Clapper's rating is an 89.02. When you look here on the team rankings page, Notre Dame's average rating per recruit's a 90.79. But when you just take the top 7, it's a 92.449. So that's how that works. So again, nice pickup for the Irish. Second linebacker commits and the 13th verbal in the class. So.